916. This is the last of an epic journey of 2- and 3-part inventions, the 3 parts known as sinfonias. It's interesting to me that he would wrap up the cycle with something, well, the key of B minor, which this is a dark key in the minor form, but he chooses a time signature of 916 time. And that means something. Anytime we have the number 9, it's a multiple of 3. It's 3 times 3, which in Bach means spiritual and intensely spiritual when it's 9. Either 9/8 time, like Jesu joy, man's desiring, or 9/16 in this case. Now he could have written it in 3/4 time, but that would have had a different feel to it. 9/16 means we have to count 9 16th notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1. So you can't go too fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 7, 8, 9. Now in the key of B minor, harmonic minor, B harmonic minor, we have our raised 7th step, the A sharp, making that half step. And that's key in this piece. This is loaded with chromaticism, and that half step, A sharp to B, that's the key to the character of this piece. It's dark, it's inward, it's filled with constriction and pain. I don't know how painful, but it certainly is a reflective piece at the minimum. So he's constructed this subject in 3 measures, and the subject sounds like this with the 3 measures. Measure 1, measure 2, measure 3. And that's our first indication of B minor. Measure 3. Easy to do. It's the B minor arpeggio. Now, then the left hand in measures 4, 5, and 6 gets to do the same thing, exactly the same thing. So that's a 4th. Now 5th. That's the 6th. Now if I put these together and call out my downbeat notes, that's a 10th and a 10th. Now we switch parts, we actually invert it. So now the left hand gets the subject, and listen to these intervals on the downbeats. So our outline of measures 1 through 6. Very sad. Going on, before we go on, I wanted to point out that the 3 measures of our subject actually can be broken down into 3 motives. The first motive I call the heartbeat motive. 1, 2, 3, 4. Heartbeats go ba 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 ba, and that's in there. I hear it. And then the counter melody is our second motive. That didn't go very far, did it? On B minor, we start on the B to the raised 7th. It's like he can't move. He's stuck. He's emotionally stuck, locked into this. I can't move out of this. And this attempt of our third motive of the arpeggio, it's almost like a flight. Give me a release. Give me an escape. That's how I hear it. material based on our heartbeat motive. G natural, G sharp, half step. Now that's a beautiful set of pairs between the soprano and the alto, or the tenor, if you will. And what the left hand does, what the bass does, we're getting out of B minor, and he does this in quite a remarkable way. Let me play these pitches for you and see if you know what I'm doing. Those are all right, descending fifths, and that's the structure that Bach is using here. So if I play and name those pitches, just the left hand alone, B, A, down an octave, D, G. So we're getting out of B minor. Let me put that together here. The second system. Oh, so nice. Get a major tonality. Down a step. Okay, now we get with our satellite view, which you get with your chart. I love these satellite views because I can see my entire piece at a glance. We are at this point right here in this green box. We've done our opening statement, 3 measures for the right hand subject and 3 measures for the left hand subject. Then we have our dialogue, a pair and a pair, total of 4 measures. And now we're going to 3 measures, all built on the fantasy motive, that first arpeggio. That's a key element in the piece. Let's see how he develops an arpeggio. Remember, invention means to be inventive and come up with new ways of doing the same thing. So this is a great way of playing around with an arpeggio. If I take my left hand alone on measure 11, I have a strict descending line going to D major. F sharp, E, and D. And those were absolutely even, the same amount of notes per unit going down. Now the right hand has a completely cross-current element. As we group, one group, go up the octave, and 2 groups. 1, 2, stop. Can you guess the next one? 3 groups. It's beautiful. What a wonderful way of these thirds. So hands together, starting measure 11. It's just so lovely. It already feels lighter. So now we're at the developmental part of the piece, D major. Now we have our theme in the bass. So low. Going up. New key. So it's exploring. Let's take the other part, the right hand, measure 14. Fifth. of our B minor. 2, 3, 4, E minor. Now what's different about this, where we are, is at the top of page 2, and it's this right here. It's another sequence, developmental, but instead of 2 pairs that we had on page 1, total of 4 measures, we have a total of 6 measures. Pair 1, 2, and 3. So it's elongated. And you can see we're getting into the real nitty-gritty of the piece here, culminating in this with our fantasy motive, which really is extraordinary. All right, at the top now of page 2, we're in our subdominant area with E minor. And remember, this is now going to be 6 measures long, grouped 2, 2, and 2. That's called a metric shift, by the way. Our opening subject was a 3-measure phrase and another 3-measure with a total of 6. Now Bach takes the same total measures of 6 and groups it into 2, 2, and 2, adding a little bit of texture, a little cross current rhythmically. Now, listening to this dialogue coming up here between the soprano and the tenor, G, the soprano, F sharp, E, D, but this time with the B at the bottom, a minor third. Why did I mention those pitches anyway? Because he used those same descending stepwise notes with our first sequence in measure 11. But the difference, that one modulated to D major. These, starting in measure 20, modulate to B minor. Very clever. So now I'm going to play this as written, this 6-measure sequence, top of page 2, and I'm going to make a dialogue between the upper heartbeat parts so that you can distinguish one from the other. I'm going to try. Our motive 3, our fantasy element of arpeggios, instead of our opening going down, we invert it and we go up. But quite unusual chord structure. We start with the B minor. This is in the soprano. And at the end, it's an inversion of a G major. First inversion. Then we go down a step to an A major. Oh, it's so beautiful. That's an inversion of F sharp minor. And the next one, same thing, an inversion of your E minor. Now for me, these pitches coming ascending, G, that's the top. Hang on to it. It's exploring. There's meaning in this. To me, these are star bursts of color, prisms, something to hang on to. We are searching here. We are asking almost for salvation. This is pathos. This is the human condition with suffering and struggling and vulnerability. And we want a way out. That's my interpretation of this. Now the bass gets also the upward arpeggio. Let's listen to what it does because it's even more interesting. measure 26. What is that? Having a fourth and a fourth. It's done to accommodate the harmony over it. How different that sounds to this, but that's where it's going. That's the resolution with the two hands. Next measure, A major, G major, not, sounds E minor. Oh my gosh, that's a diminished, A sharp diminished. So you see, he went all over the place on this beautiful cascade. Okay, I'm going to put the hands together slowly. This is the culmination of the piece here. Cross hands. This is tricky. Oh, it's so beautiful. Look at the distance here. That's so far apart. Do you hear how lonely that sounds? Bach does this in his moments of despair. At the end of the Goldberg variation, first half, variation 15, he ends with a very vast distant interval as well. Okay, going at off tempo here now. Okay, now we're going to go out, B minor, G major, raised fourth, again like a heart stab. Here's our close. It's a trio. First time, all three voices. If I took bass and tenor, listen to the dissonance there, how that fights, or bass and soprano, or alto and soprano. It's so pure, and together, it's actually three voices. It sounds like two, but if you check your music, your last note has two stems, one going up, one going down. That means two voices. So that does end the piece in a very sad and pared down way. And one last visit with our chart here, and you can get this whole thing, the satellite view and the main working copy at my website, sallychristianmusic.com. I color-coded my version here. I put the final moment there of inquiry, when the whole piece stops, basically. I put that in orange because that's not like anything else in the piece. And then our coda at the end too, going off with that trio at the end, is also not like anything else. So he chose to end this whole vast cycle of two-part inventions and three-part inventions or sinfonias with this B minor. I think in quite a remarkable way to end this way, with inquiry and searching. We never really have any of the answers, do we? We try, but we can never know everything. And having done this journey, however many of these you do, 1, 10, all 30, it's going to be work. It's going to be a struggle. You'll climb up that mountain. It'll take work. But once you get to the top, having finished it, you'll have a plateau of the most beautiful vista. Thank you.